William Afton, a loving father with 3 kids, a functioning business with a original pizzeria, spring lock suits, and including some future projects like Music Man and many more. But wait, there's something off. That picture are his kids. That land is his land. And that sister location? How much would it cost to build it? In fact, how much would it cost to build all of this? Unless something wasn't right. This isn't William Afton's land, his robots, or his ideas. In fact, I can tell you from this point on, William Afton is a complete and utter fraud. He is a person who stole everything, changing plans to prevent deadlines so he can legally take the land of a man named Edwin Murray. Secret of the Mimic is a new game that came out recently, and I want to talk about how William Afton is a fraud, how his new animatronics are actually stolen ideas, and how Music Man wasn't even his original idea to begin with. This is my William Afton is a fraud theory. My name is Kevin Does Things. I don't do theories. I am not that kind of person. But I want to make something stupid for my YouTube channel, so enjoy. Murray's Costume Manor was actually owned by Edwin Murray's father, but in the original time, after his father's death, Edwin Murray took over the company, in return meeting his wife and eventually having a kid, David. Now, during this time, I'm not going to talk about the Mimic, because I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about how William Afton planned to screw over Edwin. So, if any part sounds off, don't worry about that. Just watch a lore video on someone else's channel that has better editing than me. Go give them a like or something. Eventually, Fazbear Entertainment would make a contract with Edwin Murray, as his company was going downhill, for a big money cash. And in return, he would make animatronics for Freddy Fazbear's and many others. This would include the animatronics found in the basement, being the Proto Bonnie, Freddy, Chica, and Foxy, as well as a pile of animatronic junk and a giant Freddy Fazbear had found in the basement. Due to this, Edwin Murray worked solely on the Freddy Fazbear project, not listening to other customers, losing customers, and losing fan base. But he didn't care. He knew that after all of this, he makes some big money, and nothing could ever go wrong, right? Sometime before David's 3rd birthday, Fiona, his wife, would go to Fall Fest, mostly to see what was going on, and she had a bad feeling about it. Eventually, it would burn to the ground and she would sadly pass away. This leaving Edwin to creating a robot called the Mimic 01. This robot being a nanny and protector of his son David from the times, as he is still working on the Fazbear project and can't really have time to take care of his son. So he built a robot to take care of his kid, like a normal person and adult back in the 70s. Eventually, David would die also, putting Edwin in even more work. But then the Mimic started mimicking his son, leading Edwin to beating the ever-living shit out of the Mimic 01, teaching it violence and murder, which is probably not a good idea for a robot that is called a Mimic. Eventually, Edwin will never be heard from again, as a fire would break out into his office and, well, through an audio tape which I cannot play, he would probably, maybe sadly die. We don't really know. All we know is that he probably died or something. We don't know really. Now, because Edwin wasn't able to finish his contract, Fazbear Entertainment now owns all his projects, data, information, and everything in that factory. Well, they would if the place didn't burn to the ground after the canon ending of the game, which you could say either one, but I think the one that the whole place burns down is the canon ending, so eat my shorts, I don't care. Now, you might be saying, Kevin, that's cool and all. We know this already from hundreds of videos. How does this relate to Sister Location? Or the FNAF 4 house? Or how does this relate to anything, really? You're not really giving me, you're just telling me facts, and shut up and I'll explain. For one, I think it was very suspicious that William Afton has a massive tunnel system that leads from his house to an underground factory-like building that actually leads to a facility built underground. I'm sorry, do you know how much money it takes to build a bunker? A lot. And Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is a pizzeria chain for children. I do not think that he would have that much money to spend that much on a bunker for animatronic rentals unless that was down there already from the old factory, since we know the old tunnels and catacombs were there and probably survived the fire since it was only surface damage. Not to mention that in the game we see spring lock suits that can survive fall damage, and they're quite bulky and heavy, but they're way more durable and can sustain damage more than William Afton's designs, meaning that he didn't invent the spring locks, but Edwin Murray did as a way to attempt to make a suit and an animatronic, since he was a costume maker, leading to the fact that you can find both a spring body and a Fredbear spring lock suit in the prototype pizzeria that probably would have been even before Fredbear's. As well as this fact, there is also evidence that Monty and Roxy have existed before the Pizzaplex, as you can find a cardboard cutout of Roxy in one of the mini games, in a Springlock Monty costume, and a mascot version of that exact same outfit, meaning it was probably going to be a robot at one point in time. Something else very interesting is that Chica and Foxy were never part of the original band either. In fact, Foxy was a puppet show that Edwin Murray made during the time of operations of his business, of course, and Chica was a mascot of Chica's Party World, which was made by Fiona, his wife. Believe it or not, these two mascots were not even Fazbear related, but more on their own business plan. So this just tells me these two mascots probably were never meant to be Fazbear mascots, but were taken by Fazbear anyway. I meant to say Chica's design was made by Fiona, not Chica's Party World. I'm sorry for the confusion, guys. What a coinkydink, right? How does this make William Afton a fraud? They were doing his job and it was a big order, right? Well, here's the thing. Edwin's factory wasn't just about Fazbear. It was also about a cereal company, a nursing district, and even a few smaller businesses like theme parks and carnivals, including Big Top, which eventually would be turned into, you guessed it, Music Man and his affiliates. So take that with what you will. Fazbear was in the wrong here, trying to push him and take his assets. Now, could William be innocent in just filing paperwork and listening to Henry's concepts and saying what could work and what doesn't? Yes, 100%. It could just be a misunderstanding. But I don't think that was the case or the cause. I do believe William in this situation knew what he was doing and knew he can get away with it because, well, Edwin Murray is just one guy running a company who makes costumes, so what would he know about paperwork? And in the comics and the books and so on, William was the paper guy. He filed all the paperwork, so the contracts and so on, so only William would actually know about Murray's contribution, as Henry is just a mechanic. He's the repair guy. He's the co-owner. Would he know about the backstabbing of Edwin Murray? Probably not. He probably wouldn't have even authorized it from William, but William probably was telling him that things were going well. Maybe they said he broke contract or he rebelled or something. That's mostly where I'm going at with this. Secret of the Mimic was a fun game. The background, the story, the suits that actually referenced characters in the future, I swear, it's great. I love the game top to bottom, left to right, and you know, hopsy derby, bipsy boopsy. I loved it. Now, do I feel like it fits in with the FNAF timeline? Absolutely. Fazbear Entertainment has always been kind of a scummy, shady company, talking about how employees can be replaced. So I could totally imagine they steal from someone like Edwin Murray, steal his ideas, steal his concepts, and actually do something with them and just say it was their ideas to begin with. And William Afton, he's a scummy guy, you know, killing kids, stuffing them in suits, getting trapped in the murder rabbit suit. He just is bad all around. So yeah, I think this does fit pretty well with the lore. It doesn't bend too far from the truth, but I do enjoy the fact that there is connections to older games. So, yeah, I really do like that. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, like and subscribe. It does help the channel out. And bye-bye. See you next time.